How do you take care of yourself? That is a big question with potentially a big answer, but today I wanted to give you 10 ways of taking care of yourselves without going to the gym that all take a minute or less. Well, just one of them is more than a minute, but these are super simple to do. Stick around. Hey there, I'm Amy Connell. Welcome to Graced Health, the podcast for women who want simple and grace-filled ways of taking care of themselves and enjoying a little chocolate. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who wants you to know your eating, movement, and body don't have to be perfect. You just need to be able to do what you're called to do. And by the way, I did not include eating a little bit of chocolate in today's episode, but you can just add that in as a bonus one. We can just call that a bonus to the 10. I am recording this in mid-April. It is going live in a week. And at the beginning of the year, I attended a local chapter meeting of the Greater Houston Women's Chamber of Commerce. And this is a fantastic organization just supporting women business owners and entrepreneurs and just females in the workplace. And we all had the opportunity to go around the room and introduce ourselves, say what we did. And then the moderator asked us to share one goal we had for the upcoming year. I don't know if this is because it was in January, so was just on people's minds, or maybe because the room was full of women and women in general, or at least my experience and conversations I've had are pouring into everybody else, their kids, their spouses, their jobs, whatever it be. Or maybe it's just a combination of two of these, but the one recurring comment I heard over and over was, this year I want to take better care of myself. Now, if that's you, or if that's something you have thought in the past, I think it's worth asking ourselves why we want to take care of ourselves. This is actually a conversation I have with all of my clients on a recurring basis, but particularly when I am onboarding them and they are new, because I think it's important to include mindset behind new habits and new habit creation. But this is also one thing I hear just in general, whether it be from the women in that room or reading online or other conversations, is this concept of taking care of ourselves is big. People are like, I'm going to start going to the gym and being more consistent, or I'm setting a running goal, or I am totally changing my eating plan, and instead of having McDonald's, I'm doing the Mediterranean diet, or like big, huge things. And all of those are fine. Like, I support all of those. But I think, in my opinion and in my experience, that gets overwhelming and is not always realistic and sustainable. If you've been with me a while, you know I am very big on finding realistic and sustainable ways of taking care of ourselves. Now, before I get into these few ways, I think it's worth just zooming out and talking about a few of the benefits that we can achieve when we take care of ourselves, because that's the mindset behind it. And that can be a driver of the why. So the first one is physical health, which of course is not news to you. Now, all of these things that I'm going to give you today have nothing to do with going to the gym, nothing to do with intentional exercise or anything like that. So you can kind of define that. However, when you take care of yourself, and especially in a physical basis or in a physical way, that can help your sleep. Exercise obviously is good, eating a healthy diet, these kinds of things too. And particularly with all in a holistic manner, it can also help prevent illness, because it's lowering your cortisol, it's lowering those stress hormones. It can boost your immune system. It can increase your energy levels. And I'm not just talking about going out and exercising, but again, pouring into yourself in a way that is not self-serving, right? So we're pouring in so we can pour out. I mean, that's also kind of the mindset I want to make sure that we are taking of this, but it absolutely can help your overall physical health. It can help your mental health. I think this is probably something you know as well. That'll, depending on what you're doing, and some of these absolutely will help be in tandem with taking care of your mental health. It can reduce your stress. It can help with anxiety or depression. The other thing too, that a couple of these will do is help you feel more relaxed and focused, which can lead to greater productivity. It can really lead to greater creativity if that is what you're wanting, but kind of getting in that I would call it like a Zen state or something like that, like just pulling yourself down a little. I think another one to think about is how taking care of ourselves affects our relationships. And in particular, if you have children at home, I think this is a good thing to model. Making these small changes or small actionable items shows the children or the people in your home that it is normal and okay to take care of yourself and to do things that will make you feel and function better in the long run. Our children watch what we do and respond to that, maybe even just internally, so much more than what we say. So I think it's important to model, like, how do you want your daughter taking care of herself in the future? How do you want your son to do that too? And that may be different. And model the way that you want them to do it. Because when we do small things, then it's normal for them or normalized. And then that is something that becomes part of their way and of pouring into themselves. So that way they can do whatever their purpose is or what they're called to do. So I think that relationships are good. And of course, when we take care of ourselves, and I'm really hoping I'm not saying that too much in this episode, but it helps us to take care of other people as well. I mean, in all kinds of capacity, whether you are just trying to be a better wife, or if you are a caregiver, or if you're just trying to, do the things to help support the people you love, then when we feel filled, that's a mouthful, then we're going to be able to do that a bit more. And then the final thing too is, fulfillment. I mean, we will feel better when we have kind of met some of these basic needs or recognized, ooh, I am feeling this way, so I am going to do this. So anyway, those are just a few things to kind of think about as we go through this list. Now, if you've been with me a while, you know that helping women take care of themselves so they can feel and function well is at the heart of what I do. And more specifically, personal training is at the heart of what I do. This is how I have gotten into everything. I've been a fitness professional for 17 years now. And I love that. And I love helping women feel stronger through personal training and through fitness education. But the reality is, exercise is only a small portion of our day. In fact, if you work out a full hour every day, that's only 4% of your day. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's just not much. So what do we do the rest of the 96% of the day? Now, hopefully you're getting you're sleeping for several of those. What's 8 divided by 24? What is that, like 3? Okay. Wow. I need to work on my math. So 30% of your day, hopefully, is spent sleeping, but that's still a lot of time left over. So I have been compiling this list over the course of several weeks of just small, easy, actionable ways that we can take care of our body, our mind, and our spirit. Many of these are inspired by some of the incredible guests that we've had here on the podcast, and I will share the inspiration for that came from those guests. So if you want to listen to them, go to the show notes. So in the episode description, if you are listening in on Apple, click on where it says click here to get the full show notes. It'll take you to those show notes, and there will give you a link to listen to these episodes if you want to dig in and go on your own rabbit hole, which I have been definitely known to do. So you can do those, but I'm just going to kind of give credit where credit is due because I did not come up with all of these, and you can listen more if you want to. And the other thing too, as I go through this, just like with everything else I offer, take what you need, leave the rest. Some of these you may already do. Some of these may seem interesting, but not realistic. So that's fine. But maybe just try a few of these. And if you're listening to this in real time, we're going to do a 3-day challenge in the Graced Health Community Facebook group, which is free. So come join us over there to learn more. It's free to join. It's free to participate. Everything is free. The only thing that takes time or takes investment is your time. And again, these are all like a minute or less, most of them. Okay, so now let's get into the good stuff. Here are 10 ways to take care of yourself without stepping foot in the gym. The first one I offer is what we call over here light therapy. This was inspired by Morgan Adams, and she came on. Morgan is a sleep coach and really educated us on the importance of getting outside first thing in the morning as much as you can and get sunlight. Here's the key: without sunglasses, because what that does is that wakes up your brain to receive the sunlight. So at the end of the day, your brain knows to kick in melatonin, which will help you sleep. This was also on the Huberman Lab podcast, and I will include that as well. Andrew Huberman is host of the Huberman Lab, and he is a neurobiologist and professor of ophthalmology at Stanford. Super smart guy. So he talks a lot about this as well. So what does that mean? It means getting out 5 to 10 minutes within the first hour or maybe 2 of waking up and just being outside, get that sunlight in. I do this by just taking like a 20-minute walk. Now, during the winter months, when it is significantly darker, I will kind of supplement this. It's kind of like making sure that I'm getting some vitamins and taking in supplement form. But instead of that, I get it through a happy light, which I will link to that in the show notes as well. But it's basically kind of simulates the sunlight and the same rays that can get in your eyes if you can't get outside, if it's raining, if it's dark, if it's super cold, or whatever, if the weather's not conducive to it. But that's number 1, light therapy. So this is the only one that's going to take longer than a minute, by the way. Number 2, shoulder retractions. Now, different trainers are going to have different things for this. And I want you to reframe your mind in this is not working out. This is not exercising. This is preparing my body to do what I need to do today. Chances are what you need to do today includes getting on a computer, getting on a phone, maybe even driving, which takes our shoulders in that hunched position. And as much as you can try with having proper posture, I get that, but I think we all naturally just kind of hunch over. I do too. So the shoulder retractions are something I love to teach women who spend a lot of time on the computer or on their phone. And I talked about this in the episode I did back at the beginning of season 16 with pulls. So, and the importance of doing pulls in your workout. Again, links in the show notes. But to do a shoulder retraction, basically you just want to stand, or you can even sit up straight, take one arm out in front of you. It doesn't matter which one. Have your elbows slightly bent, not locked, but not bent. Okay, so you're kind of making an oval, or you're taking that arm in that slightly bent out, and then grab your fingers with your other hand. It doesn't matter which one, right hand, left hand, it doesn't matter. From there, your arms should be making a 0. So it's an elongated oblong shape. And then take your shoulder blades back and squeeze them against your spine while you keep those elbows only slightly bent. So you do not want to be bending your elbows. It is all a shoulder blade movement. Another thing to focus on is keeping your shoulders down. So a lot of us will store our stress in our shoulders, and you'll want to hunch those up. So keep pressing those down as you go back. So you're squeezing your shoulder blades back against your spine and then releasing. I love to tell people to do this for 30 seconds. So if you are going in the morning and you're turning on your coffee pot or you're waiting for your Keurig to heat up, do it while your coffee is brewing. That can take several minutes, or at least it does for me. But do it for 30 seconds. If you pop something in the microwave, do that for 30 seconds. I like to tell people to do this, just try it. Try it for a week. First thing when you sit down in the morning at your desk, and then right after lunch. And just see how that helps your headaches. See how that may help tension in your neck or in your upper back. And see if maybe you can even breathe a little bit freer because you're opening up your lungs. Doing this will activate those muscles. Are they going to get super strong doing that? Not necessarily. However, number one, they will strengthen. And number two, it tells your muscles, hey, you need to work and you need to get in the game here. And so they will start to turn on to support you to have better posture. So those shoulder retractions, I believe, are incredibly helpful. I actually suggested this to a girlfriend of mine, and she reached out like 3 days later and she said, oh my gosh, my headaches are gone because I'm doing this. Because she's on the computer all day long, like so many of us are. So just try it. Try it twice a day for a week and just see what happens. Number 3 deep breaths. And when I say deep breaths, I mean breathing. Put your hand on your stomach and breathe in and see how far out your hand can go, not up. Because when we do that, we are using our diaphragm to expand and contract, and that can lower our stress level. When I had Alexis Overstreet on back in February, which is kind of around mid-season 16, she is a licensed clinical social worker, and we were talking about kind of the connection between your body and your mental health. And I love what she said, which is, if you won't take 3 breaths for yourself, take 1 for the Father, 1 for the Son, and 1 for the Holy Spirit. And I just love that. The thing that I have added on when I am speaking to groups of women is do this after you use the restroom. So this is that concept of habit stacking, but just you're in there by yourself. Hopefully you might have a dog or you might have littles in there with you, but hopefully you are in there by yourself, and just take 3 slow, deep belly breaths worth of time. It's going to be not even 30 seconds. And again, just to kind of re-regulate yourself, bring you into that parasympathetic, out of the sympathetic fight or flight. So just to kind of help with just stabilizing you a little more. Number 4, eat 3 new vegetables for your gut health. And actually, this applies to just about any kind of health you can have. I mean, I've had so many conversations on here with highly, highly educated people about whether it's cognitive health or gut health or women's health, or like whatever it is. And so often mental health was another one. So often it is just eat as many plants as you can. So I'm narrowing this down because I know that there's a lot of attention right now on our gut health. And Dr. Richard Harris was on a while ago, again, link in the show notes. And this was one thing that he suggested, is just eating your vegetables, eating your plants. And so I just decided to say 3 new ones. And I don't mean like new as in you've never had them, but we all have the same things that we eat all the time. When we produce a variety of different plants in our diet, that is where kind of the secret sauce is. So maybe pick up something that you haven't had in a while, or maybe it's something that it kind of is a pain to cook, and you'll just include that in, or you're going to have to define this for however it is for you. But 3 new vegetables, or if you want to say 3 new plants, something like that to help improve your gut health, which really permeates throughout the rest of our general health. Number 5, roll. I should have done these like in order of your day. So sorry about that. But number 5 starts at the very first part of your day, which is roll your ankles before getting out of bed. I hear a lot of people, particularly women, complain about plantar fasciitis or complain about how their feet hurt. And just taking a minute to roll your ankles one way and then roll them another. And then I like to say, kind of squeeze in your toes like you're making a fist with your feet, and then opening it up and stretching out those toes will help prepare your feet for walking on them all day long, or jumping on them if you're running on them, or Zumbaing on them, whatever that is. But it just will kind of help wake up your foot and get the blood flowing a little bit to your connective tissue, just all things. So anyway, that is something that I have been able to add in. It's also helpful for your ankle mobility. Pulling out your toes is important to do because our feet are in shoes so much of the day, so they're kind of constrained. So it's just a good way to kind of wake up your feet. That was number 5, roll out your ankles before getting out of bed. Number 6, midday, go outside for 5 minutes and get some fresh air. And if you can't do 5 minutes, do 1 minute. I'm a huge believer in the benefits of fresh air. I won't go into all of those, but that really can help, for me at least. It helps clear my mind. It helps center me. It helps me focus. It helps just kind of get me out of the mumble jumble in my head, or maybe helps work something out that I can't figure out how to do something. It's just a nice little break. And again, that can help with your sleep as well. When you go outside, get in the sunshine, again, you got to keep those sunglasses off, which I know can be hard, but that's just a great, just little mini reset in the middle of the day. Number 7. This is not something I have talked about in a while, but I love teaching this, especially to my teens. And that is, hold your phone up so your head doesn't bend down. What do I mean by that? We often will take our phone, we'll take our forearms and they're kind of resting on our hips. I've got my phone, so I'm actually doing this while I'm talking. And then we tilt our head down while we're looking at everything. Well, our head is about 8 or 9 pounds. And with every degree that we go down, we are pulling significantly more weight on our neck, on our upper back, and that will cause tension. That's just not how we were designed to spend a lot of our time. So when we do that, first of all, if you're doing your shoulder retractions, you may find that helps kind of elevate you some more, even when you're doing things like being on your phone. But if you'll take your phone and just pull it up so that your elbows are more at your side rather than your forearm. So just kind of pulling that lever up some, and then use your eyes to look down at your phone rather than taking your head down. Now, I know that it can look a little weird, especially like if you're not wanting people to see whatever is on your screen, but as much as possible, pull that phone up when you are on it. I have been trying to use more voice type and voice text over the years. And if you have gotten something from me, you have assuredly gotten something that sounds ridiculous, because I will voice type it through and then I hit send and then I look and go, that was so not what I meant. I'm sure that's happened to you as well. But use a voice type if you can, and if you're in a space to be able to do that, and really just try and be aware of not holding that head down and creating all of that extra pull and tension on your neck and your back. Number 8, this is going to sound a little bit weird, but hey, that's what I do. Buy someone's coffee in the line behind you, or buy someone, it's kind of like this pay it forward. Just see if there's any opportunity to take care of someone else. I think sometimes we forget that we were not meant to do life alone. God did not put us on this earth to go through and have this self focus. We're here to love others, to serve others, to support others. And so just finding small ways to acknowledge or to serve other people can actually do wonders for our own spirit. We feel good when we help other people. So I just suggested buying someone's coffee in the line behind you. I mean, full disclosure, I very rarely get coffee out, so that doesn't really apply to me, but finding another way of just showing someone else a little love, a little brotherly love, even if I don't know them, that's good. That's good internally as well. Number 9, I really should have been more strategic in how I put these in, you guys. This is all over the place. Number 9 is scrape your tongue. This is something I have been doing for about the last couple months, and I really notice a difference. I am paranoid about bad breath. I don't know why or where that came from. To that end, I hardly ever cook with garlic anymore because garlic, I'm one of these people that like garlic gets in and just permeates out of my pores the next day. And it's totally a genetic thing as well, because I can notice it in other people in my family. And it's just, so this really won't help with the garlic. This is just a side note, but scraping your tongue really has a lot of great benefits. And those mostly stem from getting the bacteria off of your tongue, because when we scrape our tongue, we can kind of get that a little bit further back in our tongue and we can pull that bacteria out. There's actually several studies that talk about how wonderful tongue scraping is for various things. I mean, not only for your fresh breath, but also decreasing your risk of developing periodontal disease. So just again, getting the bacteria out of your tongue can help keep it out of your mouth. And who wants a bunch of bad bacteria in your mouth? So anyway, scrape your tongue. Just try it. I think that my morning breath is better in the morning when I do this at night. I mean, I think we all have it. I mean, saying, oh yeah, I don't have morning breath anymore. Well, no one's going to believe that, but I do believe that it is a little better. So, go out to the grocery store and get a tongue scraper and see if that helps. See what that does for you. And then finally, number 10, when you are standing up and standing still, follow the guidance of Rick Olderman, who was on earlier this season, and soften your knees. So what he recommends that we do is take one foot slightly out in front of the other, soften your knees, and press more of your weight on your toes than your heels. When you're on your heels, and I do this all the time, when you're on your heels, you're going to lock out those knees, which will take your hips into a tilt position, and that tilt position can really cause lower back pain. When you're standing, try and keep those knees just slightly bent. So they're not locked out, and then pressing forward, kind of like you're ready to go, like you're ready to run, you're ready to walk or move or anything like that. Not like we're on the beginning of a track meet and we're leaning down and we're ready, nothing like that, but just soften up those knees. I have a desk that stands and sits. And so right now I am standing, and I've been standing for a little bit. And as I'm talking about this, I'm realizing, even though you knew this was on the list and you had prepped for this, you've been locking out your legs. So this is one of those things that you really have to be intentional about and continually retraining your body and your muscles to stand this way. But I have noticed when I do stand this way, it really does help my lower back, which can get tight and uncomfortable if I'm standing too long. So again, most of these can be done in a minute or less. I mean, light therapy, ideally 5-ish minutes, getting outside midday, 5-ish minutes. But for the most part, these are all very simple, very achievable. And I would love to hear if you implement any of these. Does it make a difference? How do you feel? How do you sleep? How are you functioning? Is your neck any better? I mean, all of that kind of stuff, because these all work together. When we talk about taking care of ourselves so we can do what we're called to do, that's not just simply exercising and eating well and then taking care of our spiritual health as well. It's all integrated. It's all holistic. And this is a journey that we have all been on together if you've been with me a while, because that's something that I have been learning. So anyway, if you're interested in doing these with other people, come over to the Graced Health Community Facebook group. That link is in the show notes. I would love to have you join us in May as we just do a 3-day challenge with these. Okay, that is all for today. Go out there and have a graced day.